Welcome back to The Explainer. We've got something incredibly powerful to unpack today. We are going to examine a dangerous financial trap, one that is quietly keeping some of the smartest, highest-earning people completely stuck in their tracks. It's this bizarre phenomenon where you do everything right, yet you still feel miles away from true independence. So today we're going to break down exactly what this trap is, the psychology keeping you locked inside it, and most importantly, how to break out. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why is it that you can be making objectively great money, maybe $68,000 or even well over 100 grand a year, and yet you still feel completely suffocated financially? You've hit the milestones, you get the big paycheck, but there's just this nagging feeling that you are still running on a treadmill. Section 1, the traditional path illusion. Doing exactly what you were told. Look, if you're feeling stuck, you've probably done exactly what society told you to do. Step 1, you dutifully max out your 401k. Step 2, you carefully build up a rock-solid emergency fund. Step 3, you avoid lifestyle inflation. No crazy splurges. You essentially get a gold star in adulting. And by all conventional measures, checking off these boxes makes you feel completely stable at first. But then comes the reality check. Maybe it's late one night, you pull up a spreadsheet and type in your financial projections. You just stare at what 40 years of disciplined saving at your current income actually looks like. And right there, something shifts. You look at that final number and realize, wait a second, decades of this rigid discipline won't actually give me the absolute freedom I desperately want. It's a total gut punch. Which brings us to Section 2, the Competence Plateau, the invisible ceiling. That heavy realization you felt, that means you have hit an invisible ceiling. The competence plateau is basically the stage where you are exceptionally good at surviving, but you just aren't good at building yet. The harsh reality is that the exact mindset you used to climb the ranks and survive is now actively preventing you from generating true wealth. And this brilliantly illustrates the core issue. Super talented people stay trapped in a survivor mindset because they focus all their attention on just being a better employee, constantly trading finite hours for dollars. To actually escape, you need a builder mindset. That means knowing how to create business systems. It's the leap from working for money to making your money work for you. This brings us to a foundational truth of this whole plateau. A salary is really just a ceiling dressed up as a floor. I mean, think about it. You might eventually get a raise, and you feel great about it for a month or two. But when you do the math, that extra money barely changes your day-to-day life. Why? Because we quickly learn that expenses simply expand to meet whatever space you make for them. You remain completely bound to the paycheck. Section 3, the $1 million trap, a false finish line. So the crucial point is this mathematical reality right here, $40,000. Most people view $1 million in the bank as the ultimate dream, total freedom. But actually, if you use the standard 4% safe withdrawal rate for retirement, a $1 million nest egg gives you a mere $40,000 a year to live on. To put that into perspective, suddenly $1 million doesn't look like an endless vacation, does it? It is absolutely not a finish line. It is simply a starting point. There is this massive, frankly daunting gap between where your capped salary takes you and the true financial independence required to live entirely on your own terms. That gap right there, that's the exact space where you need to change your strategy. Moving to Section 4, building invisible leverage, becoming a builder. To escape the plateau, we have to completely shift from the loud, exhausting rat race to building quiet, invisible leverage. Leverage lives in building or buying real assets. And in the real world, an asset is simply something that puts money in your pocket, whether you are physically working or not. We're talking about income-producing real estate, business systems that function without your daily presence, or compounding investment portfolios. Escaping this trap means you have to fundamentally change your relationship with time and money. Money is no longer just a safety net, it's information, it's a tool for leverage. Every single hour you spend on something that does not compound is literally an hour your wealth machine isn't running. So maybe you start a quiet side project on the weekends, and as it generates cash flow, instead of upgrading your lifestyle, you quietly reinvest every single cent back into it for months, building a machine that earns while you sleep. Section 5, the price of freedom, friction and choice. Look, breaking through this plateau requires a massive psychological shift, and I'll be honest, it almost always creates friction in your personal life. As your focus shifts to building leverage, you'll notice people might act a bit envious or dismissive. You learn to get very quiet about money. You have to start saying no to things that used to be automatic yeses, like turning down those incredibly expensive destination weddings or avoiding group holidays where you always end up subsidizing everyone else. You will absolutely feel friction. But the builder says no anyway. Now, what's really interesting about this dynamic is the stark choice it forces. Ultimately, you have to undergo a massive behavioral shift. You have to move away from spending your money just to maintain relationships and keep up appearances. Instead, you must start ruthlessly protecting your capital so you can actually build real options for your future. When you finally make this shift, your entire paradigm changes. You understand that the highest form of wealth isn't parading around in a flashy new car or wearing an incredibly expensive watch. True wealth is having absolute power and complete control over your own time. Escaping the competence plateau is never about just working harder. Actually, scratch that. It is about working completely differently. It's time to stop being a competent survivor and start becoming a quiet builder. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to challenge you directly. Take a hard look at where you are spending your time. Look at the skills you've built. If you're finally ready to stop trading your precious time for a capped salary, what is one side project or asset you are going to start building this week to shatter your competence plateau? Think about it. Take that very first step and start building your quiet empire today.